This exercise is going to start with 2 images and it's going to end with a whole lot more. We're going to be working with expanding the canvas, changing a grayscale image to an RGB, that's the mode. We're going to refine edge, we're going to cut and paste rather than copy and paste. We are going to use a smart object and smart filters. And this little television and the insert that's going to be on the screen are just the very beginning of what this project is going to turn into. There should be a PDF by the time we get to this exercise with examples of what other classes have done with this exercise. So the first thing we want to do, see, I've got a bunch of things open here which I don't need for this exercise, but I need for other things. But I am going to go to dancing.psd. I'm going to make sure, oh, let me move this here. I'm in the Move tool. I'm going to grab this picture and drag it up. Now see the tv.psd is highlighted. And I'm going to drag it into this image. So now this is in here and we don't need the dancing anymore. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the layers panel out here so you can see what I'm doing. And see how teeny tiny the thumbnails are? I'm going to make them bigger so that you can see them. You can either go here to the flyout menu and panel options. I'm going to cancel that and show you if you right click in here in this blank spot, you can go to large thumbnails, and there are large thumbnails. I'm going to name this dancers, and this I'm going to name TV. I'm going to turn off the eyeball to the dancers right now. In fact, it might be a good idea. The first thing I'm going to do actually is make a new group from layers and call this backup. Always a good idea to have a backup. And then I'm going to go to the backup and make a duplicate group and call it TV composition. There we go. Hope I spelled that right. Turn off the backup, we don't need it. Open the TV composition. We have 2 layers in there. The first thing I want to do is turn off the eyeball and go to the TV layer because I'm going to cut out this screen. If you remember from the red pepper exercise, probably the best tool, easiest, quickest tool to do this would be the quick selection tool. But you want to make sure auto enhance is checked. I have it checked here because I always have it checked. Unless I restart my computer, then the default is not checked. If you remember, not checked, it gives you a very jagged, pixelated edge. I don't want that for this. So I'm going to cut this out. See how quickly it made the selection? I'm going to cut it out with auto enhance on. And the other thing is, you know how we've been doing Command J, layer via copy, which is copy and paste in position in one keystroke. Well, under layer new, where layer via copy is, which is Command J, is Shift Command J, layer via cut. So I just cut that out. Notice? That's cut out. And the reason I did that, I'm going to call this screen, is I want you to use a blend mode on top of the picture as we get further along. I'm going to do one right now so you can see I've got both eyeballs on again, because sometimes by this point people haven't been experimenting with blend modes, and I really want you to know they're there in a lot of places. So like if I did multiply, that's what that looks like. If I did screen, that's what it would look like. Hard light, That's what it would look like, and so forth and so on. I'm going to turn the screen off right now. I am going to make this dancer picture into a smart object because we're going to take this little picture and make it bigger. So I do have a tutorial, a short one with the duck, the yellow rubber duck, that shows you some different things that smart objects do. I'm going to have to review that to see if I have enough, but we'll worry about that later. But right now, I'll have shown you this demonstration in class, and I'm going to go over here to the flyout menu in the upper right, convert to smart object. Boom, we've got that little tiny icon in the lower right. I'm going to now go to Command T for free transform. I'm going to hold Shift and Option, that would be Shift and Alt on the PC, and it's going to make the picture bigger from the center. So that's okay. That will fill the screen. But what do I have to do? I want it behind the TV frame. So I have to drag it down, and there it is. So I'm going to move it. Oops, I'm in the wrong tool. I have to go to the Move tool, V, and move it over this way. So now I have my dancers. I have my TV and I have my screen. I'm going to bring my screen down. I'm going to go all the way down to, let's say, vivid light. Ooh, that's too much. But maybe if I change the opacity a little bit, that could be kind of interesting, more interesting than just normal. And so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to go back to dancers. I'm also going to add a smart filter. You can add as many smart filters as you want. I'll probably add one or two. I'm going to start with noise. Where was that? Noise. Add noise. And this is an old-fashioned TV, and they got noise. So I'm going to give it, ooh, that's way too much noise. Let's go down, 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 down. Oh, okay, I'm going to type in 12 and see what that does. Not quite enough. I'm going to type in 18. Better. So there's some noise, and there's the noise filter, and here is a layer mask. And I'm going to, we can mask out parts of this and have it not in black to hide the noise on parts of the dancers if we want. The thing about smart filters is there's one layer mask for all the smart filters on a picture. If you want multiples, you have to make multiple pictures. So for example, I could go to filter, and anything that's not grayed out, like lens blur is grayed out. But if I wanted to add a little bit of Gaussian blur, not that much, not 3, let's go to like 0.5, that would be okay. And now we have another smart filter. If I don't like it, I can turn it off. I'm going to turn it off for right now. Now don't forget saving. I'm going to save as. Hopefully I'm going to put Jostle Karen TV.psd. On the desktop, I believe I have a KJ folder from one of the last exercises, but maybe I don't. Karen's exercises. Here they are. So I'm going to save this as I go along. And now I have parts of this done. I want to make this canvas bigger because I'm going to add a lot of stuff to it. So the way to make a canvas bigger is to go to Image, Canvas Size. Not image size, canvas size. I'm going to go here. Because I'm in pixels, I'm going to leave this in pixels. I'm just guessing here what size I want it up. You're going to pick what kind of composition you want to make. You're going to need to make this bigger to add a background, to add furniture, to add a title. So you're going to need to really beef this up and show me your Photoshop skills and show me that you know how to use a lot of different layers and tools. I'm going to change the width to 650 and the height to 650 for right now. Let's see if it's big enough. Maybe, well, we'll see. We'll see. So now I'm going to go over here to the TV, and I want to do some color correction here. So I need the adjustments. Here are adjustments. And I think that because this has color in it, it's not a grayscale. This was grayscale before I dragged it into here, and it went this is an RGB file now. Let's see, go to image mode. There we are, RGB. I'm going to call up photo filter. There we go. And warming filter, I'm just going to go to 81. I don't know what the difference is. Let's see, we'll find out. Very cool, except what? I don't want the screen to get the orange. So this is where we add a clipping mask. I could use the layer mask and hide the screen, but instead I want to show you clipping mask. So if I use a clipping mask to clip the adjustment layer to the case of the television, the only thing that the color adjustment is going to affect is the case of the TV. Up here, upper right, it's going to say create clipping mask. Now watch, the layer will shift right and there'll be a little arrow pointing down, telling you what layer it's affecting. Now, notice the picture's back to what it was, and everything else is that yellow color. Now, I've decided I don't want the knobs, these two knobs, to be that yellow color. So I am going to go to the zoom tool and zoom in a little bit. Make sure I'm on the layer mask part of the adjustment layer. I'm going to get a brush. I'm going to get a regular brush and make sure that it's 100% hardness. I'm going to go over here. I have to click over here to get out of the brushes. I'm going to use my bracket key to get as big as that. Now I'm just going to click once. This is a quick way to make a mask. Oh, I don't have black. My bad. See, I've got white and black. I need black and white. So I'm going to, these little arrows or the X key. Black. Now, back to another color. Now I'm going to make it a little smaller so that I get the silver part of this one. And there you have it. Now look at the layer mask. That's what the layer mask looks like. So we have that. I'm going to double click the zoom tool to go back to the 100%. See, down here, 100%. It says 100%. I'm going to pause for a moment because I need to look for something. Okay, I'm back. I wanted rabbit ears. So I got rabbit ears, but they're quite large, and I also have to get rid of the white. I'm going to do a Command T first, just to bring it into the picture plane. And then I'm going to get I think what might work best is the magic wand. Let me try that. Magic wand, select the white, hold the shift key, select the white, and then I'm going to add a layer mask. Remember, the square at the bottom of the layers panel will add a layer mask. It's inverted. Does anybody remember how to invert the mask itself? Command I or Control I on the PC. There we have it. And I need to make it much smaller. I'm a little concerned, so I think I'm even going to make this into a smart object, because I don't know how big or small I'm going to have my composition. So now it's a smart object. Remember, if it's a smart object, it can get bigger and smaller without losing resolution. So I am going to put those rabbit ears right on top of that TV. I want the, I'm going to give it a background. I'm going to find a picture with a window. I'm going to find some other elements to really make this a much more fun and interesting picture. Okay, what I'm going to add, I want to put this in a room. This TV is, I think, way too big. So what I'm going to do first, the rabbit ears seem okay, but I'm going to put them all together. The dancers, I'm going to hold the command key, the screen, the TV, the adjustment, and the, oh, I forgot to name this. Bad me. Rabbit ears. Rabbit ears. All right, now I'm going to hold the shift key and select all of these. This is included, this is part of this. If I just close that, you'll see that it is. New group from layers. And I'm going to put TV. There we go. I'm going to add a drop shadow to the folder. I can actually add a drop shadow to the folder. I could also have made it a smart object, but I want you to see this too. See how you can see if I'd added the drop shadow to the TV case, it would have put, and I'll show you what will happen if I do that. Let's open this up, go to the case, and add, I'm going to take it away. If I add the drop shadow to the case, it's going to put the drop shadow inside of here as well. Let me turn this off. You can see, oops. Okay, and I'm going to turn this off. Oops. Didn't put it in there, did it? FX. Interesting. Let me see. Drop shadow. Oh, there it is. See, it is inside. We don't want it inside. So basically, cancel. If you have a group of things, you can either make them a smart object, or you can put them in a folder and you can put layer styles on them. So we have our drop shadow, and I also want to resize all these elements. So I'm going to go Command T. Okay. And I'm going to make the TV a little smaller. I'm going to bring in the rest of the elements I got. I got a window, a room with a window. I need to go to the Move tool. So I'm going to bring that into here. It's not quite big enough, so I'm going to bring it behind the TV, and I'm Command T for free transform. And let's see, there's a table right there. I'm going to move all this up because I have some kids I want to add to this. I'll show you a trick. The TV, I hope this isn't in the, is this in the, no, it's not in the TV. The TV needs to get a little bit smaller. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. A little bit smaller. There we go. And see this part, I need more of this. This is a trick. I'm going to put room here and call it the room. Command S or Control S on a PC. Since I'm teaching today, this quarter in both PC and Mac, I want to make sure I say both. See, I'm selecting. I got the marquee tool and I'm selecting. I want more of this brown. So I'm going to show you a way to cheat it, what we do in the news. I've selected that. Now I'm going to go Command T and just drag it down. I know it kind of looks crappy. I'll fix it if I have to, but maybe it won't show. Sneaky, huh? So then I'm going to go Command D to get rid of the selection. I might have to fix some edges here or make the canvas a little smaller. I'm also going to go and do a levels adjustment on here. Let's see, here's our histogram. I'm going to see what auto does. Auto did a lot, didn't it? Wow, seriously. Okay, so I'm going to do an undo redo just so you can see. See the difference? Okay, so that's cool. I'm going to, with these double arrows, I'm going to make it back into an icon, our properties panel. There's the room. Now here's the kids. Okay, let's bring the kids in. Go to the Move tool, drag them in, just sit them in front of the TV. Now, They need to go up here, and we need to cut them out. So this time I'm going to get, instead of the magic wand, I'm going to get the quick select tool. And I'm going to try to select the kids. Not totally, let's see. Pretty good. Got some other things I don't want. So a way to fix this by hand, I don't know if any of you remember this, is first I'm going to go to Quick Mask, which is this icon in your toolbar. There we go. I guess I must have been using blue last time. Remember, I always start off a mask with a hard edge brush because later on, I have to get the brush. Make sure it's hard edge. Yeah. Later on, if you want to soften it, you want to soften everything together. I need black. So I can add, basically you're adding marching ants. It just doesn't look like it. That's sometimes hard to digest or hard to reconcile in the beginning with Photoshop. But you are, in fact, painting with marching ants. And I'll show you when I'm done. See, I'm going to have to zoom in here a little bit. Hi, Trixie. That's my dog. She got up. Decided to move around. Let's see. Down. Okay, it looks okay, but we can always fix it with a layer mask too. I see a little bit here too. So I'm going to get out of Quick Mask. You can hit the key. Oh, look, I see a little part here too. I'm going to get out of Quick Mask. It's just a toggle on and off. There are marching ants. Now they're in a different shape. I am going to add a layer mask. There we go. Now we can see what we're doing. I'm going to call it Kids. I am going to now right click. Ooh, let's select the mask. Right click on the mask, refine mask. I don't want to look at it on a white background. I can't see what it's doing, so I need to do view mode. I think black will give me a better idea. Yes, it does. I'm going to just smooth it a little bit. I'm going to shift the edge. I can see an area that when I get out, I'm going to have to paint just a tiny bit. And if I decontaminate the colors, maybe it'll get rid of some of the white. And it did. This is a destructive move, decontaminating colors. So what happens is it will not make these first two when you leave. It'll make a new layer with a layer mask. That's what I like to do. So a new layer with a layer mask. I go, okay. This old one, I'm going to put into the backup folder. All I have to do is hover over it, and it goes into the backup folder. This is the one I'm going to use. See that little area right there? I want to clean that up. I'm going to be on the layer mask, get the brush, have a little black, zoom in just a tiny bit, and just clean that up. Now, the one thing I want to stress is when you are doing jobs for people, you do want things, your selections, etc., to be clean. So you have to go back and forth, really, and check these things. Double click to zoom. I think the kids could be a little smaller. This is linked together, so I'm going to make them a little smaller. Would be nice to see a pet in here too. All right, here's our dog, a pug. I'm going to hit the V key to go to my move tool. I'm going to drag the pug into my TV project. Drag it down here, make sure it gets in here. It's rather big and it has the white background. I'm going to get the quick select tool and drag it around our little puggle. Well, no, this is an actual pug, not a puggle. Not one of those designer mutts, so to speak. That doesn't look quite right. Even though I know there's dog there, that looks a little weird. So I'm going to go back into Quick Mask get the brush tool. Oh, it's really tiny, isn't it? There, my right bracket. There we go. And I'm going to go out. Ooh, I messed up. Look at that. This is why we like to use masks and stuff. I have to get white. I'm going to hit the X key this time. And there we go to the pug. I'm going to Q, get out of there, add a layer mask. I am going to name it pug. You know what I didn't do, which I should, I'm going to hold down the command key and click on the mask so I get this selection up. I am going to add levels to this too. Levels, auto, and because I only wanted to affect the pug, what do? I add a clipping mask. Because it could end up compromising if we don't edit the other masks like we did with some of those more complex things. This is just an easier way. Now, since I did that, I really don't need this. I could even delete the layer mask, quite frankly. So I did. I'm going to make the pugs smaller, much smaller, because they're little guys. Put it next to one of the kids. Like it's bored, sleeping on the floor because they're not paying attention. Still kind of a big pug. I'm going to refine the mask. This time I'm just going to do it tiny. I'm going to actually type it in. I'm going to do a 2 for smooth. And then for shift edge, I'm going to do a -1. And there's our pug. There's our kids. Do we want a cat in here too? Or maybe food? Let's get a plate of food in here. I'm going to save. Decided on ice cream rather than food. Not that it's not food, but it's not exactly food. So I'm going to put a bowl of ice cream. Where'd it go? Oh, this is something that is kind of good that it happened, because when there's a clipping mask, sometimes when you bring a picture in, it'll automatically go under the clipping mask and clip to the layer below it. Very confusing. So you have to move it out of the way. I'm going to move it up above the pug. And now I have to make sure it's, the pug is still clipped. Levels is clipped to the pug. In fact, I'm going to even say pug levels. Levels or levels pug. Levels pug. And then I'm going to undo this clip, release clipping mask of the ice cream. Ice cream. If you use anything that has a watermark on it, clearly there's copyright issues. Just leave the watermark. I don't mark you down for having watermarks on your school things. In the real world, don't do it. In the real world, you'll get sued. Oh, why does it keep doing that? So here, I have a better way. I think. Let me see. I'm going to get the quick select, and I'm going to hold down the option key, alt key on the PC, and just go around, see the little minus, and say to Photoshop, don't select this yellow. Don't. I don't want it in the picture. I still have more to get. Okay, so now I'm going to get the silver. It listened. I have a little more bowl over here on the left. Not so bad. A little more here. I think what I'm going to do is add a layer mask. Boom. I'm going to right-click Refine Mask. And I'm going to add just a teeny tiny bit of smooth. And then I'm going to say OK. I'm going to make it much smaller, Command T. And I'm going to put the bowl of ice cream here. And so now there's a bowl of ice cream. So we've got, the pug still is probably bigger than most pugs. Let's make the pug a little smaller. Because they're pretty small, I think. Okay. So there's the pug. And if you saw the ice cream there, probably be like sniffing over there, but doesn't see it yet. There are the kids. There's the TV. You could put a different picture outside this window. We could do that. Bring in different lamps, put a cat on the couch, etc., etc., etc. That's what I want to see you do with this project. You're starting with the TV and the dancers, and then you're using blend modes, adjustment layers, smart filters, smart objects, layer masks, and you are making the image size, the canvas size, I'm sorry, that was my mistake, canvas size bigger so that you can make a picture. I would probably have kept all of the elements like the room and the pug and all that stuff, which I have here. I'll either keep them in a folder on my desktop or put them in the backup folder, the ones that don't have masks and haven't been transformed, into this backup folder. So that's up to you. You could change the color of some things and on and on and on. But this is the TV exercise. So it's not just the TV and the dancers. It's making a much bigger composition. By this week, you have learned and mastered, maybe not mastered, but learned a lot of tools to make this a fun project. So there you have it. Thanks. Have fun.